Day 137, Monday night. If you're new to this, I basically talk about my business. I talk about my results every single day and observations and strategies and tactics, business models, LBOs. So, today is my off day. I got defense and offense, right? What did I do? Another day of the grind, man. Another day. So, I have another booked meeting today with a seller. So, I have two sellers I'm speaking with, and I have a meeting tomorrow. So a big part of today was kind of figuring out how I want that conversation tomorrow to go and analyzing conversation that I've seen of other people talking with sellers. So I have like a drive with like 100 audios of navigating that kind of conversation. And I really boil it down to about 5 to 7 questions. And I actually sent those questions to a few people I know that have closed deals. I want to see what they think. I want to see what kind of like insights they can give me as far as like how to navigate that first conversation with the seller. And another big part of the day, I actually hired someone to create a list of bankers, a list of SBA lenders, commercial lenders within the USA. So I'm gonna have that list going. But I'm excited, man. I got a second meeting now. It's pretty cool. And it's not off of the ads. That's the weird part. I think the biggest component that's really gonna switch to ads is the lookalike audience. And I still haven't switched that. I spoke with someone who could help me on it, and they told me that, man, I need to feed the pixel more. So as in I need to get more data from Facebook. I need to spend more money. So I'm still figuring that out. And here, I have some points right here that I want to speak about. Yeah, so whenever I was getting the board members on the company that we have right now, about 5 to 6 people on the board, you kind of have to like really put yourself in a different position when you're getting into these meetings. You have to really change. Like, I'm not trying to say like I lie to people or anything like that, but you want to make sure you come across a certain way. And that's why I have a problem with people when they say, just be yourself, just be who you are, don't change. I think that's a load of BS. Frankly, it's just a load of BS, man. That's all it is. Because you really have to change. You have to not be yourself in order to have the growth and to change. Growth is change. So how are you going to say you don't want to change? It's like saying, I don't want to grow. When you're not growing, you're dying. That's the truth. You're not growing, you're dying. So I need to get myself in this different mind state. Something that I'm worried about is I am getting these meetings booked in while I have work tomorrow. So that's going to be a bit iffy. I wanted to get one of my board members in the meeting with me because I look young, man. So imagine being a seller for a company that makes millions of dollars in revenue every year, and you have a young guy on a call with you telling you this and that. Like, it just kind of like sounds unbelievable. So I need some white hair back in me. So I had to reschedule the timing, get one of my board members to come to the call. So tomorrow's gonna be interesting, man. I need to be ready for tomorrow. I need to get some good sleep tonight because I have to navigate. Like, I need to get off work a little bit earlier so I could get this meeting. I need to come back in this room because I don't have anywhere else really that would be a good spot for me to do these meetings. And the toughest question really to answer, and I have my own answer to it, but I really don't want to like lie. I don't want to come off as deceptive or anything like that. It's like, who are you and who's your company? I'm not gonna answer that here on camera. But when you're young, it's like, how do you come across a certain way with that question? Because if you just, this is why it's good to have a board, man, because you gain instant credibility. So yeah, I'm gonna speak with my board member before the meeting about that question. So another thing, I had someone's comment. They asked about self-improvement books and what I think of them. So me personally, I think self-improvement books are BS, load of BS, load of garbage. And here's the reason why. So I've read a bunch of books, right? Decent amount of books. I have some over there that I'm looking at. The best books, in my opinion, are the ones that tell stories. And self-improvement books, sometimes they tell stories, but you want to read stories of people that have succeeded in life, that have something to give, some kind of knowledge to give. And it's not always about money. Granted, it's not always about money. But you don't want to learn from someone who learned off of the book they're writing. You know, like that makes no sense. Learn from someone who actually did something. Like I read, when I was 19, I got gifted Tony Robbins' book. I forget what it's called, but it's a self-improvement book. And I was reading it, man, and it just went on and on about just believe in yourself and this and that. But it doesn't tell any stories. Like reading a book tells you a great story, which shapes your belief, and then your belief shapes everything else after that. So you want to read books of like people that have successfully done something, because why else are you reading self-improvement books? Because you want to self-improve, you want to have money, you want to be in good shape, whatever, right? You wouldn't be reading those books unless that's the case. I'd imagine, right? Most likely. So read from like the top people, man. Like even from dead people. There's so many great books there's so many stories written of people that have done great things. There's so many of them. Like Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. He created Nike. He's worth over $40 billion. You read What It Takes by Steven Schwartzman. I think he's worth $30 billion or something. Created Blackstone. You could read on and on, man. Like Larry Ellison, he's the guy I was talking about in yesterday's video. He has a book as well. Like everyone, Elon Musk has a book. I have it over there. I didn't even read it yet. But Larry Ellison, man, like, can you believe that when he was my age, like 22, 23 years old, he had a wife, and his wife divorced him because he was not ambitious. Can you believe that? And he's like the fourth or fifth richest person in the whole world. He's worth like $145 billion. And she divorced him because he wasn't ambitious enough. That's insane. That's crazy. His story is interesting. Like, read his story. Like, he won't tell you things to do, or he won't tell you anything. He'll only explain what happened to him, and then you interpret it however you want to interpret it. And it's quite interesting. It's like if you interpret something at a different point in your life, you would take it in a different way. So the interpretation, the way you take it, is important as well. I'm not a big advocate for books, man. You always have to have experience. But books are useful in its own way, for sure. But I mean, at the end of the day, who would you rather have? Would you rather have someone that read 100 books on how to drive cars, or someone who actually driven 100 cars, right? Like for me, M&A, mergers and acquisitions. Would you rather learn from someone who's read 700 books on deal flow and acquisitions, or would you rather learn from someone who's actually done 700 acquisitions? What would you rather have? That's a pretty obvious answer. So even like as an employee, right? You could learn something and work in a field and have experience for years and years as an employee, but once you start to do something on your own, you have zero experience because being the owner and being the employee are two separate experiences. They're not the same. Steven Schwartzman, in his book, What It Takes, he talks about that. He literally says he was working for some kind of firm, and he had a bunch of clientele that he worked with. Like, he knows how to play the finance game. Like, he has experience in it for 10, 15 years. But once he went out on his own, he couldn't get any business. Even though he has the experience, it's because he doesn't have the credibility of doing it on his own. It's like the experience as an employee doesn't necessarily have as much weight as you'd expect. I'm about to sneeze. Man, the last month or so, it's been crazy with my allergies. It's gonna get crazier in March for sure. But yeah, I think for sure something I've been debating is switching it up on the channel, man. Like, these videos are getting so repetitive, and I know some of you like love this kind of style of videos, but like I said, if you're not growing, you're dying. And me and this channel, guys, we haven't been changing. We're slowly dying. Like, I feel it. Can't believe I've done like almost 140 days in a row. Me just sitting down and talking. Like, that's pretty crazy. I think it's time for me to start switching it up. But again, I want to somehow figure out how to do something every single day. Maybe I could start off by thinking of something every week. That's only like 52 video ideas. 52 weeks in a year. I need to sit down and like think of a concept that I can consistently do. For sure, short form is a huge deal as well. So short form might be the change. Like, I might just continue doing these, but start pushing out some more short form. But I do want to switch this up a little bit, man. Has to switch up. What do you guys have in mind? Like, maybe like live streams, or maybe some kind of like testing. Like, I have an interesting idea in mind, and it'll probably take me like 2 days to make it. But that's the thing. Like, when you have like creative ideas, they take time to make. Like, you can't do it every single day. You see, I can make videos every single day, but my life is not set up or optimized for it to be like entertaining. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely something I need to think about.